Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Unraveled. I'm Kristen Fehrenbach, the Senior Director of Microsoft Go-to-Market here at Pax8. Thanks so much for joining us today. I feel like we are doing a Copilot Chronicles session, but we can't forget Azure in that because it's super important. But before we dive into updates, make sure you like, share, subscribe. We always want to have you back here with us. With that, let's go ahead and jump on to our first update. So Dynamics commercial price increases, those are coming to effect October 1st. So just want to make sure that you're all aware there's multiple SKUs that are impacted, but reach out to your account team. There's a link down below. It's going to explain more. We are here to support you. Want to make sure that you are aware this is coming in October. Now, in North America, you've got a modern workplace boot camp this next week. You've got May 7th and 8th. You've got 2 full days. Want to make sure that you're there. We talk things from Copilot, all things in business premium. How are you secure? There's a big chat around AI. Shocking. No. So want to make sure that you are signed up. There's still space for you. If you are able to still sign in, block out a little bit of time on your calendar. That way you can dive in with us. I know Angelica, sorry, I don't know who I was saying there. Angelica Schwing is going to be your MC, your North America Microsoft leader. So she will be there with you on both days. Really looking forward to that. All right. Ashley Moretti wrote me a very long update on this, everybody. I hope you're ready. GDAP is going to be auto extended. We're going to hit some highlights on that. So Pax8 is going to be extending the GDAP relationships for a minimum of 6 months. What does that mean? Right? So this extension is to allow Pax8 to continue to support for the end customer tenants while keeping that tight security posture. So want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Extension, the relationships between Pax8 and the end customer, and those include those that were initiated via the Pax8 GDAP tool, as well as those that were created in the Microsoft-led transition. If you got any questions, reach out to your account team. They'll be there to support you on anything GDAP as well. Now, there's always NCE updates, right, y'all? All right, so NCE for public sector. Microsoft has postponed the requirement to purchase NCE versions of public sector SKUs and the retirement of those legacy products from May all the way out to August 1st. We just got a little bit more time, everybody. So want to make sure that you know originally that date was yesterday. If you aren't aware that it's already been extended out to August 1st, now we are on the same page, but there will be a Microsoft-led migration for the auto transition of those legacy ones. It's postponed from that July 1st to September 1st. So if you have any questions about that, please let us know. Last but not least, I feel like we are on that final countdown. We are almost there. We're almost to beyond. I know that I have the pleasure of going this year. You're going to see a lot of those familiar faces, not only from this show, but from other Pax8 live shows. I know Microsoft's one of the sponsors. I know I get to work in the booth. I'm really excited to get to actually see some of you partners. So please make sure you're stopping by the Microsoft booth when you're there. There's only a few tickets left though. So if you haven't reserved your spot, please make sure you get in there, get your ticket. I'm hoping there's still room at that hotel because, man, it is filled up fast. Would love to see you there. Make sure to stop by. All right. With that, we've wrapped up the updates. I am super excited to welcome a familiar face to the show. Eliott, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how's it going? Good to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Eliott, you've been on before, but tell us who you are and what you do here at Pax8.
Yeah, I've been here a few times, regular face. Eliott Chandler, Global Director for Pax8's Azure Go-to-Market business. So all things Azure, every single region.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I wanted to bring you on because there is definitely a lot of talk of Copilot, specifically M365 Copilot. It's shocking. I know, you've never even heard of this.
Yep.
And I think there's an Azure opportunity. We've talked about this in the past, but I want to make sure that we really kind of dive into, hey, you know what? this is actually going to increase other workloads, which is also exciting. So let's start with the big question. Is AI an actual opportunity for SMB?
Yeah, so this was kind of a bone I had to pick with you, right? Copilot, 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 and it's all M365. And I was waiting for the Azure love, so today's my day. Today is the day. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity, right? And you've spoken about this a lot on Technically Unraveled in terms of just the scale of the opportunity. And Microsoft have been telling us the opportunity in SMB specifically, which is our partner sweet spot, right? So there's 4.7 million seats of opportunity in SMB for AI globally, right? So there's a lot of seats out there. There's a lot of customers out there, specifically in the SMB space, because I think the mindset we tend to be on is that the AI is an enterprise play, right? But we've been hearing almost the exact opposite, right? Customers are knocking our door down. Microsoft is telling us that there's kind of a seat opportunity there. And then on top of that, we have 72% of SMBs are already familiar with using AI in their day-to-day lives, whether that's in the office or at home, personal apps, work apps, they are using AI solutions. And then 67% believe that AI will enable them to reach their goals. So this is part of a business's plan, right? They know AI is important. They know it's something they need to consider from a technology perspective, and they're working to make it happen. So SMB AI is here, and it's only going to grow.
It's really exciting, actually, because it takes a while to kind of just get comfortable with it, right? And I mean, people might have started using, obviously, maybe not Copilot. There was others that were out there, right? So maybe they were using that in their personal lives, things like that. Now they're doing it in a more secure manner, which is exciting. But let's really kind of start at the beginning, right? How do AI solutions function?
Yeah, this is a really good one, especially from an Azure perspective, right? Because I think when any new technology comes out, we kind of have this rapid adoption phase where you'll kind of learn the ins and outs of it, and then we get to that sales phase. And you mentioned it a minute ago in terms of just how quickly the adoption of a tool like Copilot or AI in general has happened. And I remember the kind of usage and adoption charts of like things like Facebook and all these things, and then ChatGPT, just how quickly it got to 1 million users was so small. So we've kind of rapidly got to this point where sales have accelerated for the solution before like the technology partners have really had time to sit in it and learn it. So this kind of how does it work piece sometimes gets missed, and I think it's super important, right? So the biggest thing that I try and talk about, and I've been talking about this for years, even previous to Pax8 when I was at Microsoft, I would talk to partners. It was all around kind of AI is only as strong as the data you build it on, right? So if you layer AI, no matter how good the AI is, on top of shaky data, all it does is it enables you to get wrong answers way quicker. And that's not something anyone wants to have their AI solution is, I want some really rapid wrong answers. And I give a couple examples of this, right? So these are the kind of classic ones. We'll get more SMB afterwards. But if you take manufacturing, for example, a big thing in manufacturing is defect detection. How do I know what I'm making is fit for purpose, right? So you have an AI bot, an IoT camera pointed at your production line, whatever that ends up looking like. That does nothing until you're able to train it and give it data. So the way you do that in manufacturing is you feed it loads of images of a good product. This is something that meets my standards. And then a load of images of things that don't quite meet the standard, things that are dented, scratched, or mislabeled or anything like that. And then all of a sudden the tool gets better at what it does. So this AI tool becomes more valuable to you. Right? And Copilot is no different. We need to think about it in the same way. Copilot is only as powerful as the data you give it access to. And that's sometimes a step that people kind of skip over because it's so consumable. It's a modern workplace SKU. And even our partners are sometimes guilty of that, which is, okay, customers knocked on my door and said, I must have AI, I must have Copilot. I've heard great things. They sell it and move on. But they're really forgetting that fundamental of it's only going to be as powerful as the data you give it access to. And that's what I'm hoping is the Azure opportunity in disguise is that data piece.
I agree. You're stressing me out a little, Eliott. So are you telling me that now the MSPs, they need to run out and start building these AI solutions to actually capture the interest wave? Because that's a big ask.
Yeah, 100%. All go out, build AI solutions. No, let's be clear. No, we'll back. No. So this is actually like a really common question I get from partners, right? Especially when we start throwing the term AI around. And it's the same thing in terms of like, let's talk like car sales, right? If the car sales start increasing and you're a mechanic, do you think, well, now I need to know how to build a car from scratch and start selling cars? Like, no, you can do all the peripheral bits that come with owning a car, right? Same with AI, right? When AI solutions are being built by an ISV or any vendor that you use as an MSP, there's going to be lots of peripherals that come along with that. And that's where I want our partners to specialize. That's where I feel like the opportunity in SMB is. So I'm not sitting here expecting MSP resellers to have a data scientist hidden in the back that can train an AI bot or do like ML work in the background, so the machine learning side of it. If you've got that skill set, amazing, do it, run with it, build solutions that work for your customers. But for the 99% of MSPs, it's not a realistic ask. So when we see AI, they kind of have this panic moment of, well, I'm not going to build AI solutions. And I think the reality is you don't need to take advantage of AI and where that can take you. So the shift is build an AI solution or support the peripherals. And I think that the big kind of missing piece that some MSPs are missing is that data piece, right? So I sell Azure today, I sell Modern Workplace today. I don't have to go and build AI solutions. Focusing on that data estate modernization. I'm still yet to meet an SMB customer who's been around for more than 3 years that doesn't have some random data workload on premise. So like an on-prem file share that they all access, when you start at a new company, like, oh, this is the G drive that we map to everyone, and it's just in some dusty cupboard somewhere and no one really knows how it works. That's still a thing. And I'm telling you now, Copilot doesn't have any idea what's on that G drive. So when you ask Copilot, hey, build me a proposal based on the projects I'm working on right now, but all of your project documents are sat on premise, not connected to cloud, Copilot will do its best and it will give you a generic template, but it's not going to be as valuable as if you connected it in. So let's target those workloads, migrate them into the cloud. We talk about legacy SQL databases, right? So customer data, like your sales data, is sitting somewhere that's not connected into cloud. So when you ask Copilot these questions based on your business, it doesn't have access to that information and can't give you the answer. So there's tons and tons of opportunity that don't require you to build an AI solution, right? And I think you and me are guilty of this one. And I don't know if I should say this while we're live on the air, and I love throwing this one randomly in because I'm going to get you and I both in trouble, which is shadow IT, right? Sometimes within businesses, the tools that you want to use aren't what you want them to be. So you use a personal application or a personal phone, or you shoot me a text on a weekend, whatever that is. Sometimes that gets even bigger. So when it comes to like storing files, you'll store them on your personal OneDrive because your office requires you to have it on-prem, or you're a remote worker, so you actually just save it locally on your laptop. This kind of shadow IT will become a blocker for AI solutions that are expecting that information to be in cloud. And these are all the questions that our MSPs aren't asking today is, well, if I'm selling the AI solution, how am I making sure our customers are doing the work to make that as powerful as it can be? So, and all of that you can do without building an AI solution. You can just feed it the data.
It's
a lot.
Okay. You worked me up. You got me nervous, and now I'm back. I'm back. We're good.
Good.
Okay. So
Good.
now partners, they're going to be able to interact with this. They don't have to have, insane skill sets to be able to build these things. But if I'm a partner, let's say I've just been putting this off, right? And I've just been not really wanting to have the conversation. What's stopping me from selling Copilot right now?
Right. And that's, I think that is a very, very common scenario today, right? Is that partners have naturally responded to the demand. Customers are knocking on the door and saying, I'd like some Copilot. So partners are selling that Copilot. And they've been able to kind of walk away after the sale and not have too much of an impact, right? But there is going to be some risk associated with that, especially when we talk about the Microsoft ecosystem. I think we all know that the stickiness of a customer is something that we focus on a lot, and Modern Workplace and Azure is very transferable as a workload from one partner to another. So if me as an MSP, I approach my customer, I deliver them Copilot, and then I walk away. What do we do next if we're not delivering the value of the data behind it? And that's going to be something that another MSP can walk in and do. Right. So if I'm one MSP and you're another, Kristen, let's go. You and me are rivals, just like we are on a day-to-day basis, right? She's my manager. I'm not her rival, I promise. But let's say we're rivals, okay? And I've just gone in, sold the Copilot license, and I've walked away. And I'm doing my best to keep that customer in the kind of Microsoft landscape. You need to win your customers every single month because they can go somewhere else. You as another MSP walk in, you find those customers, and you say, well, actually, you've bought Copilot. Haven't you got like a ton of on-premise data? What are you doing with your SQL server? You've got SQL 2012, that's gone under support. Should we get that into Azure? You've got a file share. Copilot can't see that. And you have all these really intelligent conversations with them. And the customer's like, yeah, that makes sense. And all of a sudden, for a few kind of small projects of migrate and modernize, which by the way, Pax8 can help with, the customer's getting way more out of Copilot, which is the thing that I sold them. So all of a sudden in their head, you're the partner that's delivering more value, even on the things that I've sold them as the competing MSP. So that customer is at high risk of churning from me and moving to you because actually you've done the hard work, which is tell them, well, are you getting the most out of Copilot now that you've been sold it? Because someone sold it to you. Is it doing what you want it to do? Is it everything you hoped and more? And you've done the kind of data migration and all these good things, right? So by me walking in, selling the license and walking away, I'm increasing the risk of that customer churning by not doing the work. And it's very easy to just respond because like we always kind of say, customers don't really know what they want. It's up to us as partners. And every now and then in technology, you have these massive moments of technology where customers knock your down and ask for it, right? Which is, I'm a customer, I've heard about Copilot, I need AI. So they know what they want, but they still don't know what they want, which is they want it, but they need it in the right way. How do we make sure they're maximizing value? How do we take a step back and say, okay, what are you using Copilot for? What are you hoping it will deliver? How do I make sure that it will do those things? So just by responding to their initial ask, selling the thing and walking away, you're kind of leaving the door open for that churn. You're leaving the door open for your competition to come in and do that extra piece of work. So the value is there to do it. And it definitely helps keep those partners, customers sticky to you. And it helps you get more monthly revenue anyway. So it's kind of a win-win situation.
There's a flip side to this, Eliott, because
Okay,
this
lay it
is
on me.
the first time that I've really seen where customers are so adamant. Customers are knocking on partners' doors saying, I want this product. If the partner is going to say, I'm not ready to sell this to you, it's still going to
Yep.
open you up for churn, right? They're going to buy it somewhere. And they're probably going to buy the wrong one. All of a sudden, they're going to be using maybe Copilot Pro, which is the consumer version. They're going to be using all these other things because, man, I asked for it. Why are you not selling this to me? So what are your thoughts on that side?
Yeah, it's huge, right? Because we kind of mentioned shadow IT before, and if a user really wants something, they will find a way to do it. It's kind of, we talk about this concept called a desire path, and I always use an image when I talk about this, which is like this beautifully designed winding path through like a park with a couple of trees and bushes that someone puts so much thought and effort into, and then there's just a muddy trodden path down the middle that everyone walks down because they can't be bothered to do the windy stuff, right? And that is the quintessential summary of IT. You can put so much time and effort into doing these things, but if a customer wants something or a user wants something, they will find a way to do it, and they'll take the easiest path to doing it. So if their MSP isn't supporting them, they'll find a way. They'll use ChatGPT, they'll use the consumer version of Copilot, or worst case scenario, they'll go to another MSP who can sell it to them. And it leaves yourself really, really open to that. And a determined user is a scary thing. They'll find a way. If there's that, like the Jurassic Park moment of life finds a way, IT users will find a way to do as much damage as possible to get what they want.
That's so true. So, I mean, that's the whole thing is that, the demand's there. How are partners going to capitalize on it? Pax8, we've got a lot of programs, a lot of incentives. We've got a lot of things that make this a really attractive offer, right? Not only that, like not only just the license, but like the professional services behind the work that you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a ton of opportunity in it.
Yeah,
So
they're
how, right?
100%. That's what I'm getting at. I'm like, okay, so like there's all this opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Where do I start?
Yeah.
I'm just too flustered, Eliott.
Yeah, it's exciting. We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll do it. Yeah, so it's understanding the opportunity is number one, right? Sometimes we have partners who are like, there's so many customers, I don't know what to do with. Sometimes it's rare, but sometimes a partner will say, I don't think there's any opportunity for this for me. This is a small customer. They've just bought a bit of Copilot and they want to move on. So understanding the opportunity and like kind of quantifying it for yourself, just making sense of the noise is huge, right? So step one, Pax8 always talk about this, but Microsoft's Cloud Ascent data is amazing. It's basically, in a very short summary, is Microsoft's propensity data of your customers, what they're likely to consume next, and what they're doing today. So there's a little bit of like, hey, they're consuming some SQL 2012. There's a warning flag on that. So I would recommend for partners to become familiar with their Cloud Ascent data because it's all about their current customers today and what they should sell. So in the description below, we'll make sure that we have the link to our Academy course. This is going to walk you through how to access your Cloud Ascent data, how to understand it, and what to do next. But make sense of the noise, make sense of all this opportunity is step one, and Cloud Ascent is a really, really good way to do that. And our account teams are great at walking partners through. So that is absolutely where I would start, is make sense of the noise for sure.
I love it. So now we know there's customers, there's opportunity, there's all of this within an existing base, right? Like, I'm not even saying you got to go talk to anybody new. You probably already have their cell phone numbers. We're just going to call up the same people we always talk to.
Yep.
Partners probably need to feel a little bit more confident maybe about the product itself. So if I'm a partner and I've got to go learn, right? It's great in Teams, it's great in Outlook. But what else does it do? Where's the real value in it? Where are partners going to go to learn about this?
Yeah, so I want to call out a couple of the Microsoft things. So the Microsoft Learn site is phenomenal, but the problem is that's very, you kind of hinted at it, right? It's very product focused. And like we said right at the beginning, is sometimes you can lead with the product and you end up in the wrong place. So I would highly recommend, I'm kind of biased, it's a Pax8 resource, but the Pax8 Copilot landing page is really good at helping you understand the opportunity from start to finish. So what are the first conversations you should have? How do you do the discovery? How do we identify data? How do we give Copilot access to what it needs, but not giving it too much access to go and run rampant in your organization? So where do we sit with that? And then how do we do deployment? How do we do adoption and that sort of stuff? So education on the tool is prime. I would recommend the Pax8 resource because it talks through more of the end-to-end customer journey and how our partners should interact with them, rather than just look how cool and shiny Copilot is, which is what 90% of the learning resources are. But yeah, that landing page, do it. It is, it's shiny. I get it. People love it.
They really do, though. And that is that, like, everybody's talking about it, so there's such a hype, and there's that FOMO, like, well, they have it, well, I need to have it if they have it, right? So I think we're definitely getting some of that right now, which it just obviously struck me. So
yep.
The partner benefits, I think this is an interesting one. I don't think it's as utilized as maybe I think it should be, but these are actually these are going to help people learn about Azure. There's credits, there's advisory hours. Talk to me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so that's kind of a big education question we get on Azure, is how do I actually go and play with this stuff without breaking our customers' environment? And we do little like hands-on labs and things. We have tons of those that we run, but they're very kind of confined. So as a partner, if you want to go and learn Azure and you want to kind of understand the ins and outs of it, deploy some workloads, break some stuff, which is the fun bit, I start with the partner benefits, right? So they are really, really good. Microsoft just announced kind of a change to these benefits and how they work. So they've got the kind of basic, core, and success benefits. The core one is a great place to start for partners, especially from an Azure side of things, because it costs less than $900. It's like $895 or something. But it gives you access to $2,400 of Azure credits. That alone is value. That is in a very good amount of value. There's also a ton of modern workplace licenses that you can play with, Visual Studios, technical hours, support calls with Microsoft. I think Microsoft estimated the value of the $900 package at $62,000. So there's a lot in there, and you can go and deploy Azure workloads. And then the success package, which is the kind of the premium pack of benefits, it's a little bit more expensive. It comes in at just under $4,000. Gives you access to 4,000 Azure credits. So already it's paid for itself in just the Azure credits that allow you to go and deploy and play with workloads. And then with even more premium modern workplace licenses, even more virtual studio licenses, more technical support hours, Microsoft actually value that one at $390,000. So it's a bit more expensive, but it is considerably more valuable. So
Wow.
as a partner, if you're looking to invest in education and letting your teams play with these things, I would absolutely start with these benefits.
I think that's awesome. Now, this is not the same thing as, this always gets me. You ready? MAICPP. So these aren't designations, right? This is outside of designations.
Designations. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Two separate things. So everyone knows designations. Let's stick with that. The MAICPP. Yeah, different things. So with the designations, there's lots of like training requirements, customer ad requirements, and they get you certain benefits and they get you badges on the Microsoft side of things. Different benefits. These are benefits open to anyone. You pay the fee, you get the benefits. We're all good. Designations slightly different, and they give you access to certain programs on the back end, but they are two different things. I would highly recommend leveraging both where you can. Our academy is a great place to learn about designations too. We've got a cool matrix that breaks them all down. And
Awesome.
actually, you reminded me, you said the designation word. The Azure designations are changing. We're getting an SMB Azure designation. So Microsoft made this announcement. They were a little light on details as to what that looks like, but we had the feedback in the Azure realm that the designations for Azure are a little bit out of reach for MSP resellers who are serving SMB customers. So they're bringing in SMB designations. So they're going to lower the bar in terms of Azure consumption and number of certified employees, things like that, that make it a little bit more achievable. So the Azure SMB designations should be coming in Microsoft FY25.
I am really excited about that because for partners to earn incentives, right? If you have the modern work designation, you're not earning incentives in Azure. So we need to make sure that we get partners earning incentives.
Yes.
Let's make sure we're maximizing funding. I really am excited about all of that. Now, you hinted at this and you're going to have to talk a little bit more. I know we're going to come up on the end of the show here, but professional services, we do a ton of work with Dom and team and all over the world, right? We got KG out in Australia.
Yep.
Like everybody's super involved in this one. And I'm really excited about the funded migrations, but we also have a program that we as Pax8 have access to called AM. So what does that mean for our partners?
Yeah, so AM is the Azure Migration and Modernization Program. See, I know that acronym. And this is Microsoft's kind of programs for specialized partners that gives them access to funding and technical talent to help with migrations and assessments. Full disclosure, this is something that is not easy to obtain. So most of our partners in our channel probably won't have access to AM. But the good news is Pax8 does. So we can do a lot of that work with you and work with you to understand how we can get funded assessments. So we were talking a lot about migrating data estates from on-prem into cloud, but you might not know what's there. So there's assessment tooling that Microsoft has that we can get funded to understand what's on-prem and how we move that into cloud. So that's a really strong point that Pax8 can help with because we have access to AM. And then there's the actual migration work that goes along with that. There's an extra small migration package that Microsoft term. The term extra small is between 10 and 25K a year. The SMB, that's not extra small. So most of our partners and customers are going to fit into that group. Once we've done the data assessment and we have the migration opportunity, there's a potential incentive that Microsoft pay when we do the migration. So we can leverage that a lot. Personally, my favorite, you mentioned it, our pro services team. They are rock stars. These guys have probably forgotten more about Azure than I'm ever likely to know. They are an incredible team. And when it comes to funded migrations, Pax8 can foot the bill for that. So they are a paid for resource. They're very good at what they do. So some of our partners are paying to utilize them because we help them extend their technical team. In some cases, we can help fund that work. So there will still be a bill for the work, but Pax8 can try and pay for all that if there's a migration happening from on-premise into cloud, which is 90% of the Azure opportunity when it comes to Copilot. So if we're taking these on-premise data sources, connecting them into cloud, whether that's Azure Arc or a straight up migration, our pro services team are likely to help, and hopefully in a funded manner. So we can make some connections there. So ask your account teams, can we get this paid for? And give them my name too. Why not? Stick a meeting in my calendar. I'll try and pull some strings, but if it's going from on-prem into cloud, the likelihood is there's going to be some support there for you from a funding perspective too.
Man, so we're helping train people. We're going to help pay for some of it. We're going to make sure they have the Microsoft assessment resources. There's one more thing. And I think that there's just so many different offers. We've got to figure out what's best case here, right?
Yes.
But there is another Pax8 funded assessment. And it's with a really great partner of Pax8 called Cyrisma. So talk me through just the whole of that.
Yes. So this is kind of in response to another big query, right? So sometimes when it comes to Azure, especially with Copilot and data sources, partners are uncomfortable. So we've covered the learning. They don't really know how to do the migration. We've got pro services for that, right? The next thing is once they're in cloud or when we're doing the discovery, how do we do all this work and make sure we stay compliant? So this is where Cyrisma comes in. So they're a really, really great partner of ours. They cover a bunch of different areas. So mainly it's like identity access, unified security, and the data governance piece. So when it comes to doing assessments of what's where, and then once we've migrated that into cloud, what does Copilot have access to? What should it have access to? And what shouldn't it have access to? And kind of just, it's putting the guardrails up on the work that we're trying to do here. So when it comes to like data and AI, so Arisma's kind of those guardrails, right? And I've seen Kristen try and bowl. She puts those things up. Don't let her tell you otherwise. She's the one with the bumpers up. And it goes ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So Arisma is the guardrails on that front. So they're a fantastic partner. And the offer that we have here is we can often fund those assessments. So we ask for a purchase or a commitment to purchase 5 Copilot licenses for your customers. So if you've got some customer opportunities, it's not really a high ask. As long as we have a customer that fits that profile, we can help run those assessments and manage that ongoing as well. So they're kind of before it happens and ongoing management when it does happen as well. So if you're a bit worried about kind of that compliance side of things, Cyrisma's the partner.
I love it. So we're going to pay for that one-time assessment. If they want to look at the continued monitoring, or professional services team is going to talk to them about that option. I think overall, we just want to make sure that Pax8 partners feel like they have support, so they've got obviously their account team. We've got a lot of different programs and products to make, hopefully, this a seamless transition. So Eliott,
Hope so.
I think there's an Azure opportunity.
Yeah, there is, right? It's hiding in there, but we can get it.
I love it. I love it. All right. We're going to have you back on soon. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. All right. Big thank you to Eliott. I'm really excited about the Azure opportunity that you also have within Copilot. Let's definitely make sure that we're expanding your business with you. So let us know how we can support. But until then, I'm going to see you next week with Miss Ashley Moretti. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.